I've been looking forward to doing this show for a long time. Welcome to the Public Square. Alan C. Duncan. I'm sitting here with Rob Walgate. Rob, you brought a guest today, a special guest who've been trying to get in here for a while, and you finally brought him in.
School schedules, but we got him in. I was thinking of all the people that I've interviewed in my life on radio.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people since I started working at the American Policy Roundtable, over 21 years ago. That's so hard to believe. So yeah, there's been a lot of people that I've sat with, that you've sat with. I think this one probably hits a little different.
Yeah, I was wondering how you were going to conduct this interview.
Well, I'll tell this guest how to answer the questions, or I can.
You've also debated a lot of people on air. It's just going to be a debate.
I don't know if this will be a debate. I don't think it'll turn into a debate. I think this guest probably has some of my debate skills, and he flips them on me a lot. And his mother really loves when that happens. She's like, how do you like arguing with yourself? Except for he's a lot kinder when he does it.
I could see that. So RJ Walgate, your son, RJ Walgate, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
No problem. And RJ's done a lot of interviews over the past couple of years himself. So I think this is the first time that one of the panel members will be a family member. Is that true, Arch?
I believe so, yeah.
Nice. Well, cool. Yeah, I've seen some of those interviews. Well, first of all, why don't you set up why we brought
we brought RJ in. It's kind of like your kids are involved in so many things growing up. And I've always been one that says, feed your kids where they're hungry. Let them do what they want to do. Now, maybe in his younger years, I probably tried to force feed him golf a little more than I should have. Dads in sports, right? Dads in sports. But a handful of years ago, RJ fell in love with wiffle ball and watching Major League Wiffle Ball on YouTube and all these guys. And he'd show me videos of these guys pitching and doing things. And the next thing I know, he's taking a road trip with my dad 2 summers ago to a minor league ballpark in Toledo, Ohio. And the next thing I know, that RJ's entering a tournament sponsored by Major League Wiffle Ball. And then about 14, 16 months ago, he came to me and said, hey, Dad, Mom, I'm going to get drafted in Major League Wiffle Ball. I'm like, what? Slow down here. So that's kind of how it started. Did I leave anything out? I'm sure I missed a few things along the way, Arch.
No, you're pretty much spot on. Just was a fan, then became a player who was still a fan, and now I'm a player in the league, but I still find myself having those fan moments because I was such a huge fan of those guys. So now it's like I'm playing against the guy that I was just asking for an autograph of a year ago.
In Major League Wiffle Ball, for those that are wondering, it is an 8-team league based out of Brighton, Michigan. They have roughly 500,000 YouTube subscribers. The league has been around, is this year 16?
15. Year
15. I know they always introduce a new T-shirt every year, but it's year 15. And the founders of the league are in their mid to late 20s. Kyle Schultz. How old's Kyle, Arch? 26, maybe?
Maybe closer a little bit, 25, 24, maybe.
So they started this in their front yard when they were 9, 10 years old, and they videoed all the games, and they've kept stats on all the games. And obviously, when it first started, it was a 2-team league.
Are you the youngest in the league right now? Yes. Still? Okay, youngest in the league. By how much? Like, what's the average age in the league? And then how old are you, I guess, for our listeners?
So I would say the year I got drafted, that summer I was going into being a freshman. And I believe there was maybe 1 or 2 that were going into their sophomore year. Might have just been juniors. So there was that big age gap. But now I think I'm only the youngest with this incoming draft class by like a few months.
Gotcha. So we're talking high school. Freshman high school.
Yeah, he was drafted when he was 14 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, but for those that can't see, we're not doing video here. You're very tall for your age. And so how tall now? I think every time I see you, you get a little bit taller.
I think we're sitting at 6'6" right now.
About 6'6". Okay. So and your position that you play is
pitcher.
And how far away is the mound from the plate?
Yeah, so the rules of MLW is it's 38 feet from the plate, and they cap it with a radar gun, a speed limit of 72 miles an hour.
Gotcha.
So being a taller pitcher, something that gives me an advantage is that my long reach gives me a quote unquote what the guys refer to as a faster 72. Because it's almost like it's being released from 32 instead of 38.
It's wild.
And there's a lot of people probably listening thinking, you can't throw a wiffle ball 72 miles an hour. Let me tell you something. These guys can throw a wiffle ball a lot faster than 72 miles an hour. And when they have, and that's the rules for Major League Wiffle Ball that you can watch. They release videos every Friday. But they have these tournaments, different parts around the country, different organizations. I think, I'm probably going to say some of them wrong, so RJ will get mad at me. But like Mid-Atlantic Wiffle.
There you go.
UWIFs.
Mm-hmm.
So they have tournaments where the mound is roughly 46 feet away and there's no speed limit. And there's video of guys hitting 90s, throwing a wiffle ball.
Hitting 100. Yeah,
throwing a wiffle ball. Now, in the strike zone, for those, I'm sure there's a lot of people searching right now, like looking up Major League Wiffle Ball. But the strike zone is, in essence, it's kind of like when you were kids, if you thought of putting the lawn chair behind the plate for a strike zone or a backstop, there's PVC piping that's made, and they make real fancy boards with logos, and that's a strike zone. If it hits it, it's a strike, no matter where it crosses the plate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing like that. I always tell Arch that's his ringtone, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. That's got to be a cool sound. But I think the other thing that people need to know is the crazy things you can make the wiffle ball do. You're not just throwing it in a straight line. Can you talk to us about the process of like what you can make it do and how you get to that point?
Yeah, so in terms of the process, what I will say is actually when you take the wiffle ball out of the box before we even make it move, something that our league does is we scratch it on pavement for about 1 to 2 minutes, which is known to in the wiffle ball world as scuffing the ball.
Okay. And this is purely legal in this sport. Yes, everyone knows. Yeah.
Every game ball we get will be scuffed. Mm-hmm.
The commissioner scuffs it in Major League Wiffle Ball.
Yes, and this probably sounds crazy to some people, but if you ask anyone in that league, we will all tell you it moves different scuffed than straight out of the box. And then so after that, pretty much just the rule of thumb is once it's scuffed is whatever the way the holes are facing, ball is going to move opposite because when it gets that spin, you generate that spin, the holes push air out, and so it moves the opposite way.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, people should, if they haven't seen it, you should go online and look at what some of RJ's pitches can do. It's wild. Like start behind a guy and it'll be a strike.
Well, and there's a lot of physics with it as well. And that's why one of the most popular videos that the Major League Wiffle Ball guys have done was they released with YouTuber Mark Rober. And they did like a physics project with him, right, Arj?
Yeah.
And to show the movement of the ball, how it works, how it's done, all that crazy stuff. I think a lot of us, me speaking in my 40s, remember playing wiffle ball, and we used to be able to make it move a little bit one direction or the other. And there's a lot of dads that will often see them be like, "Oh, I'd like to step in there. I want to get a look at that. I want to see that." And the things these kids can do now with the ball. And I say kids, you asked about the age of the league. Yeah. RJ was the youngest when he was drafted at 14, and primarily the majority of guys are in their early to mid-20s, would you say, Arch?
Yeah, I would say if you totaled all the ages together and then divided them or whatever, did math, I'd say the average age probably falls 22, 23, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, one of the teammates on RJ's team on the Metro Magic in Major League Wiffle Ball is Grant Miller, and Grant's in his late 20s, and he was a phenomenal baseball player at Western Michigan University, Division I baseball player. He probably has the best hand-eye coordination I've ever seen in my life. But because hitting a wiffle ball is different than hitting a baseball, because there's some guys that can really hit a baseball that can't touch a wiffle ball and vice versa.
Well, I want to try. Maybe at the end of the show, maybe we can go outside and I'll see if I can stand in there and see what happens.
Look at the smile on his face.
I see the smile.
What do you think? RJ, do you love when people say that?
I do. There's always the risk. Another rule about Major League Wiffle Ball is that when you get hit by a pitch, it's only a ball. It's not a base on balls. So there's always the risk that you can hit an quote unquote innocent bystander who's just trying to step in. But no, I love
Mr.
it.
Duncan's all right. So
yeah, and I love being able to show people, what I can do and how they can really get a feel for the world of professional wiffle ball.
And when it comes to Major League Wiffle Ball, their primary demographic, I would say, because we've ran into people that we know of all ages that watch Major League Wiffle Ball. There's even a local varsity basketball coach that came up to RJ during basketball season and talked to you about it, right? RJ, you had no idea he watched and was.
I know. It was awesome. It's like so full circle when you see, like you said, that whole demographic. One day I'll have a 5-year-old kid come up to me and be like, hey, I'm a huge fan. Their parents like, what's going on? And then you have a legit parent coming up to you whose kids don't know that they watch Major League Wiffle Ball. It's crazy.
That's well. So you mentioned that there's about 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. RJ, how big do you think this league can get? And is that something that the league is focused on?
I definitely think it can get huge. The difference between, I would say, MLW and some other YouTube pages you see a lot is their growth has been very gradual. There's never been one video that gets them 100,000 subscribers. With TikTok and Instagram Reels, all these short form platforms, we see a lot of people hit one video and they're off. But MLW's never really had that. So I think once they can get their one video that really clicks and takes off, that's where we can see maybe the biggest jump that we've ever seen in terms of following and just, subscriber count. But we're still making gradual growth, and I definitely like the way the league is headed.
Yeah. Well, and there's some kind of folks with, I guess, big names that are aware of Major League Wiffle Ball, follow it. Who are some of those people?
So like my dad mentioned, Mark Rober. We've done, not myself personally, but Kyle Schultz, our commissioner, and Jimmy Norp went on MLB on TNT, I believe, TPS.
Yes.
With Jimmy Rollins, Pedro Martinez, Curtis Granderson, and Ernie Johnson, and that looked unreal.
That's really
I
cool.
so wish I could have been there because that looked awesome.
That's very cool.
So yeah, that's just to name a few, and I'm sure there's
Josh
others.
Young from the Texas
Josh
Rangers.
Young is a huge. He's actually now he's more of a consistent player at their MLW Texas Rumble tournament in December. So this year, right after his World Series, about like less than a month after, he was playing wiffle ball with those guys. So that's an awesome name too.
That's right. Now, could he hit it? He could hit.
Oh yeah,
he does well. Yeah, he does well.
He does well. He's in Major League Baseball, so the reaction time is probably similar. When you look at the reaction time from 46 feet coming that fast to what a Major League fastball do. But in talking about the demographic, it is younger kids. It's those kids that maybe play little T-ball or Little League baseball and then get up to, play baseball in high school and even in college. There's college baseball players that watch, but there are parents as well. But the one thing that MLW does is they hold different tournaments around the country with age groups. So I think the age groups are what, Arch? 10 to 12?
10 to 12, 13, 15, and 16 plus.
Yeah. So they hold all the kids come. A lot of the Major League Wiffle Ball players there. I'm full disclosure, it's a bit awkward when you walk into a venue where they're having these tournaments and you just see a bunch of kids run at your kid holding wiffle balls to have them sign. I would say, I'd be like, dude, you can't even clean your room. Like, can you please, like what's going on here? So
nobody wants an autograph for that.
Yeah, I mean, so I will say that was a little weird. We're on vacation at the beach, younger kids coming up to get pictures, and the parents are even looking. I don't think the parents knew who he was, but
that's so funny.
All the little kids do. But he talked about that viral video that everyone's looking for, and MLW kind of had one with RJ because he had such a breakout year as a 14-year-old, and they released a YouTube short that got roughly 800, 900,000 views. So that took off, and they have some guys in the league that are very marketable and are, I'm using air quotes on radio as I always do, superstars. You think of Jimmy Norp and Jordan Robles and Kyle Schultz and Tommy Coughlin, the guys that have been there forever. Who am I missing, Arj? I know I'm missing someone, I'm sure. I don't want to offend any of the guys that I'm leaving out. So.
Oh, no, yeah, you're all good. Pretty much there's a lot of different people known for different things. And the one thing about YouTube, you can be known for your personality as well. So guys like Drew Davis are known not only for their play, but for their personality. So there's a lot of different.
Is Drew Davis known for his play? Oh, sorry, Drew. Wow. I apologize.
Wow.
Catching strays.
We play them like 6 days. So if he hears that, I might be in trouble. But no, yeah, a lot of different guys known for different things. And I think that's truly what makes our league so unique.
Well, so again, talking about YouTube, this is where the games are primarily viewed, would you say? I know there's probably some Instagram stuff as well.
Yeah, so you're going to find the long form. How it works is there's often a lot of confusion on why am I only seeing the last pitch of every at-bat.
Yeah.
We play, you see the full at bat when you're there in live time.
Mm-hmm.
But we break it down in the YouTube videos to the last pitch of every at bat, and that's going to put it into roughly a 35-minute video with intros, pregame interviews, and then outros. And there's also a mic'd up segment.
Mm.
And then you'll find the short form stuff on platforms like Instagram and TikTok.
So when somebody goes to watch on YouTube, they're seeing the whole game, but it's seeing basically the impact plays. Like, I guess like you said, the last pitch. So it gets you through the game in a relatively quick time. It's kind of an interesting way to do it.
You're either going to see a walk, a strikeout, or a ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to see every time you're not because it does take a little bit of time when you're actually at the series. I mean, they only use one wiffle ball. They use the same. Every series is a 3-game series. They use the same wiffle ball for games 1 and 2. Then they bust out another new scuffed one for game 3. Look at RJ's face. Tell us about some of those scuffed balls you don't like, RJ.
So this is, once again, if you thought we were crazy for scratching the wiffle ball on pavement, we're going to sound even crazier, because sometimes with the scuffed wiffle ball on pavement, it's impossible to replicate the same scuff on pavement when it's a plastic wiffle ball every single time. So sometimes you're going to get there and everything's going to go right for you, and sometimes everything's going to feel like it's going to go wrong and it's going to be a lonely place out there. But that's kind of, what I like about the league is it's not easy. It's hard to be consistent, rather. It's hard to be consistent, and that's something that why I applaud those who can go out there and be so consistent every single time, is that, like I said, it's hard to be consistent.
Well, so to that point, what kind of training do you have to do to maintain the peak level?
So I kind of just try and throw with. I've played wiffle ball, although I've only been in MLW for 2 years. I've played for 3 to 4 now, and so when we talked about the difference in how the ball is going to move that day and the way it's going to be scuffed, I just go in my garage and say, I like this one. Okay, I don't like this one. Let's throw both with them at the same time when I'm practicing here, and we'll see how this one moves opposed to this one. So that way, when I go into a series, I'll say, okay, if I get a good ball, I know that this pitch and this pitch is going to work. But if it's a bad ball, I know that at least I'm going to be able to throw this for a strike.
Oh, that's interesting. Practice with a bad one.
Yeah. Well, and I do have to say Ryan Kratch's his name. I left him out. I mean, how do I leave out the reigning MVP when I'm talking about two-time MVP, talking about the stars of the league? The other thing, Alan, that they do, we talked about the tournaments they have for younger kids and adults, and you see some adults throw their arm out at these tournaments trying to compete. I'll
throw my back out.
The other thing that they do is they have 4 travel series a year that count as MLW in their standing. So this year we can say 3 of them are, Arch, right? Only 3 of them have been released. Well, we know Vermont's always won, right? We can't say Vermont. Vermont's always won. I'm making an assumption with Vermont. Okay, there I am. If they get mad at your dad, I'm making an assumption they're going back to Vermont. They're going to Miami to play where the Marlins play. So there's going to have a series.
Very jealous of that one as well.
Yeah, well, RJ's not going to that one. They're playing one in Brooklyn. They're playing in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, that's
cool. In a minor league stadium. Where the Cyclones play?
Yeah, I believe the Brooklyn Cyclones. They have like a whole amusement park in their outfield. It looks sweet. I wish I was going there too.
So we're not going to Miami. We're not going to Brooklyn. We can't say on air where RJ's going. It hasn't been announced yet, but his team will have a travel series as well.
Now, another thing about you, we talked about everybody kind of having their own personality online. One of the things that's been evident about you is you've been very vocal about your Christian faith when you've been interviewed. How's that been for you? How did you kind of make the decision to go that route?
Yeah, well, I think something that oftentimes, even now, I still sit back and reflect on is it's kind of rare to start to take a sport so seriously that I've never played at the age I did, like 12, 13. And it's not like it's just any sport either. It's, first off, wiffle ball, a sport that no one thinks of as a real sport, and also one that has given me such a platform. So I really felt like I've had this platform, and it's not a sport that everyone's familiar with. So it's got to be the Lord, because it's kind of a pretty crazy coincidence if it's not. So I really think that with all those factors considered that I just named, it was really just his way of giving me a platform to share my faith. And I'm really happy for, like we've talked about, all the followers and subscribers that MLW has, because it really gives me that, stage to share my faith and be vocal about it, not just on camera, but also with my friends in the league as well.
All right, we've now come to the point in the show when we leave the studio, we go outside, and we see if I can hit a Major League Wiffle Ball pitcher. And make sure audio is on, because we're just going to be using the audio.
Ping!
Audio was on.
Audio.
How'd that look, Dunk?
That did not look hittable.
It hit the zone. That's a strike.
It's going to be great radio because you just hear the pling of the plastic on metal.
We can't hear you flinching.
That's what the video's for.
Now I'm also gonna set that pitch and describe. Allen's a right-handed batter. That ball started in the batter's box for a left-handed hitter and cut back and hit the zone. So the frustration was there. But this next pitch.
Is this your favorite one?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think
okay.
so.
It may be. The sound is not going to be a ping. The sound will be a little different.
Did you get the sound of it hitting my face? Did I get to take a base on that? Do I get to take a base?
No.
No?
That ball didn't move, which happened. RJ, does that happen sometimes where the ball just doesn't move?
Yep.
Not quite.
I think Mr. Duncan was hugging the plate and up a little high too. What do you think?
He was in a little bit. I hate to be the one who I hit him in the face, so it's not like he hit himself in the face.
I did ask you guys where I should stand. There's no lines on the ground. We're in a field. I asked, but I scooted back after that. But yeah, Rob's getting a lot of enjoyment out of this.
It's not like we took Allen straight out of production and put him in a yard. He's an athlete. The dude played college football, so I don't have much sympathy for the guy. He's an athlete. We're not picking on someone who doesn't know what they're doing on the athletic field. But let's listen to that one more time. Let's
Should have had him sign a waiver.
Do you hear how hard Rob is laughing? Do you hear how hard he's laughing at me in the video? It's so hard.
I've seen this movie many times. We've been at picnics. We've been at cookouts. We've been places. Listen, I thought RJ was going to put Uncle Jake in concussion protocol one time, my brother, because Jake thinks he can hit off him, and he swung and got all his momentum moving, and he did 3 circles, and he was dizzy and had to sit down.
I couldn't believe the movement. You watch it on TV, and you try to get the thought of how it would move. They were coming from above my head and hitting the strike zone. I'm like, I'm going to have to jump to even hit these. So first of all, thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a good sport. He's probably being nice to me too. He's probably throwing it 60 miles an hour to me. So I appreciate it. And
he's a lot kinder than I am. He's been invited to numerous little kids' birthday parties to pitch to the kids because they love it. And he lobs them in there and lets them all hit. I'm like, what 15-year-old does that, bro? Mow him down. Strike him out.
Well, he
give him the heater, Ricky.
But hey, come on. There's one that's at least.
There is.
I put it in play. Let's at least do it. I was probably going to be out, but still.
With 2 strikes, you just have to react when you have 2 strikes. If you don't have 2 strikes, you can sit on 1 pitch, and then maybe you can guess correctly. Oh, my God!
Hey! I'll take it.
That, folks, was the excitement of Allen C. Duncan hitting a little roller to the first baseman.
A little weak ground ball.
But it doesn't go down in the books as a K.
No.
I think it would go 3U, 3 unassisted, I think, in the scorebook. The first baseman would have handled that.
I think so.
But you put plastic on ball. That was the goal.
I'll take it.
You'll take
I'll
it.
take that. Thank you, RJ, for being a good sport. I appreciate it. And thank you, our listeners, for listening to today's very special edition of The Public Square. We hope you enjoyed it and had as much fun listening as we had making it. As always, you can find us at our free mobile app. Just look for The Lamppost, or at thepublicsquare.com. We'll see you next time.
one off your face is rough.
Yeah, that's my bad on that one.
The Public Square is a broadcast service of the American Policy Roundtable.